The new November SNAP crisis explained. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, take a deep breath with me. What you are about to hear is one of the most important updates for anyone who depends on SNAP, EBT, or monthly food assistance in the United States. Many seniors, low-income families, veterans, and people living on fixed incomes are waking up each day unsure whether their November benefits will arrive. And today, we finally have clarity, but also a warning. 8 states across America have stepped forward and said, yes, we will help our residents with November food support. This happened at a time when millions of people were terrified that their EBT cards might not refill, that grocery shelves might become harder to reach, and that Washington's budget battles could spill into their homes. But let's pause for a moment because understanding the situation clearly is the first step to protecting yourself and your family. The federal government has been struggling to pass a complete budget. When the budget is delayed, the government faces what is known as a shutdown. It's like a household running out of money before payday. When that happens, many programs that depend on federal funding become uncertain, including SNAP. Think about that for a moment. More than 42 million Americans rely on this program to put meals on the table. These are not just strangers. These are seniors, widows, veterans, working families, people with disabilities, and people who have already paid into this country for decades and now depend on it for support. SNAP is not charity. It is dignity. It is stability. It is survival. So when the government warns that SNAP benefits for November might not be issued on time, it creates a wave of fear across the country. But in this moment of fear, 8 states looked at their residents and said, we will not let you go hungry. We will step in even if Washington cannot. This is where our story begins, and this is where your plan of action must start. Why these 8 states stepped in. Now that we understand the crisis, let's take a closer look at why these 8 states decided to take action when the federal government could not. Their decision wasn't simple, and it certainly wasn't cheap, but it was necessary. When Washington faces a shutdown, federal agencies freeze. That means funding for programs like SNAP becomes uncertain because no new money can officially be released. The states saw this coming long before the public did. Governors, state treasurers, and human service departments began reviewing their budgets, preparing emergency plans, and asking one important question. If the federal government fails to deliver November SNAP benefits, what can we do to protect our residents? And the answer was clear. They could not fully replace the federal program. That would require billions of dollars they simply do not have. But they could create stopgap solutions. They could strengthen food banks, expand emergency food assistance, and provide temporary relief to prevent families from falling into hunger. The states that stepped forward, Virginia, Connecticut, Delaware, Kentucky, Louisiana, South Carolina, Colorado, and Minnesota, made a promise that echoes across the nation. We will not leave our people behind. But let's be honest. These states are not fixing the entire problem. They are providing buckets to catch the water leaking through the roof, while the federal government is supposed to repair the roof itself. Still, those buckets matter. For a family worried about running out of food, a bucket can mean the difference between going hungry and getting through another week. These states acted because they recognized something simple yet profound. When people cannot feed their families, everything else collapses. Health, stability, mental well-being, the ability to work, and even the safety of children and seniors. Their message was not political. It was human. It was compassionate. And it was urgent. As we continue, I'll explain what this means for you personally, how it affects your EBT card, what money stays, what money might not arrive, and what steps you must take next to protect yourself. How a government shutdown threatens your SNAP benefits. To understand why millions of Americans panicked about November SNAP benefits, we need to look deeper at how a government shutdown actually works. It's not just a political disagreement. It's not just arguments on television. A shutdown is a full stop, a freezing of the federal systems that families depend on every single month. Imagine your household budget suddenly being locked. No bills can be paid, no checks can be written, no new money can move. That's what happens inside federal agencies during a shutdown. And SNAP, which provides monthly food assistance to more than 42 million Americans, is one of the programs that gets caught in this freeze. During a shutdown, federal workers who normally process SNAP payments may be sent home. Funds that would normally be released to states are held back. Systems that schedule and load benefits onto EBT cards slow down or stop entirely. The uncertainty alone is enough to cause fear, especially for seniors and families living on fixed incomes who rely on every dollar to make it through the month. Millions of people ask themselves the same question. Will my November benefits show up on my EBT card? And this fear wasn't imaginary. In past shutdowns, SNAP benefits were delayed, reduced, or at risk of interruption. That history created anxiety the moment rumors of a shutdown began spreading this year. But here's something important. Any money already on your EBT card stays there. You don't lose leftover funds from October or previous months. That money works like a bank balance. If you don't use it, it rolls over. The real danger is the new money, the funds scheduled to load in early November. Because without federal approval, states cannot release those funds on schedule. That's why people across the country desperately needed answers. And in the middle of that uncertainty, 8 states stepped forward to offer support while others waited for federal decisions. But what exactly does this state support look like? And how does it affect you directly? That's what we will uncover in the next section. What these states can and cannot do for you. Now that we understand the federal problem, let's look closely at what the 8 states are actually doing, and just as importantly, what they cannot do. Because there is a lot of misunderstanding, and clearing that up will help you prepare for November with confidence. First, here is the truth. No state in America has the money to fully replace the federal SNAP program. Not even the wealthiest states. SNAP is massive. It costs billions of dollars every month, and state budgets simply cannot take over that responsibility, even during emergencies. So if states can't replace it, what exactly are they doing? They are creating what we call emergency assistance layers, extra support systems that make sure families do not fall through the cracks. These states looked at the uncertainty in Washington and said, we may not be able to fix the entire system, but we can protect our people from the worst of the impact. Here are the key things states can do. Boost local food banks. Many states are sending extra funding to food banks, helping them distribute more meals to seniors, families, and low-income households. Set up emergency food assistance programs. These programs vary by state but may include temporary vouchers, supplemental food distributions, or partnerships with nonprofits. Provide partial support for SNAP households. While not full SNAP benefits, these states may offer limited emergency funds or additional food resources. Coordinate with community organizations, churches, charities, and local nonprofits often expand meal programs during a crisis, and states help direct resources where they're needed most. But here's what states cannot do. They cannot guarantee the full SNAP amount that the federal government provides each month. They cannot load federal SNAP dollars onto your EBT card without federal approval. They cannot prevent nationwide delays caused by a shutdown. Think of it like this. The federal government is the engine of SNAP. States can add fuel, offer temporary power, or give you tools to get through the storm. Yeah, but they cannot replace the engine. So what does this mean for your actual benefits? It means you may need to be proactive, stay informed, and prepare wisely. In the next part, we will talk about what this situation means specifically for your EBT card and your November benefits. What this means for your EBT card and November benefits. Now let's talk about the question that matters most to you and millions of others across the United States. Will my SNAP benefits show up on my EBT card in November? To answer that, we need to separate what is certain from what is uncertain. Here is what is absolutely certain. Any money already on your EBT card is safe. It does not disappear, it does not expire at the end of the month, and the government cannot remove it. SNAP funds roll over from month to month just like a bank balance. If you have money left from October, that money is still yours to use in November. Now, here is the uncertain part. The new benefits that are normally loaded onto your EBT card at the start of the month may be delayed if the federal shutdown continues. This is where families feel the most fear. Many households depend on those early month deposits to buy their groceries for the entire month. When that money doesn't show up on time, the pressure becomes immediate and overwhelming. This is exactly why the 8 states decided to step in. They knew that even a short delay in benefits could cause seniors to skip meals, families to ration food, and individuals with medical conditions to go without proper nutrition. But let's be crystal clear. Even though these 8 states are offering support, they are not loading federal SNAP dollars onto your EBT card. Instead, they are building a safety net around you so that if your November benefits arrive late or arrive in a reduced form, you still have options to avoid hunger. Different states are taking different approaches. Some are partnering with food banks to increase supplies. Some are launching emergency distributions for vulnerable households. Some are setting aside state funds for temporary relief. Each state is responding based on what it can afford and how urgent the need is. So what does this mean for you right now? It means you need to stay informed, keep an eye on your EBT balance, and understand the options available if your benefits do not arrive on time. In the next section, we'll guide you through exactly what steps you should take today to protect your benefits and prepare for November. What you should do right now to protect your benefits. Now that you understand the situation, let's focus on something even more important. What should you do right now to protect your SNAP benefits and prepare for November? In times of uncertainty, information and preparation are your greatest tools. Many seniors, families, and individuals on fixed incomes feel powerless when government decisions hang in the balance. But the truth is, there are steps you can take to stay ahead and avoid being caught off guard. Here's your personal action plan, step by step. Step 1. Check with your state SNAP office immediately. Every state handles SNAP benefits differently, and during a federal shutdown, those differences become even more important. Visit your state's Department of Human Services website or call your local SNAP office. These offices know the real-time situation and can give you accurate updates for your specific state. When you reach them, ask these key questions. Are November benefits expected to be issued? If so, what day will they be loaded? Are there any emergency programs available right now? Do I need to update anything in my application? Their answers will give you clarity and help you understand whether you should prepare for a gap in benefits. Step 2. Make sure your SNAP application is up to date. During shutdowns, paperwork can get delayed, frozen, or misplaced. This means you want every detail in your application to be correct. Your address, income information, household size, and renewal date. A small mistake now could delay your benefits even further, and this is not the time for avoidable errors. Step 3. Prepare a backup plan for November. Food needs. Even if your state is one of the 8 offering help, state assistance may not replace your full SNAP amount. A backup plan ensures you have additional support if your benefits arrive late. In the next section, we'll talk specifically about food banks, emergency food programs, and community resources you can rely on no matter where you live. Food banks and community support you can count on. As we move deeper into this November SNAP situation, it's important to remember something many people overlook. You are not alone, and you do not have to face food insecurity without support. Across the United States, thousands of community organizations, churches, nonprofits, and food banks are preparing to help families and seniors through this uncertain period. Food banks are becoming especially critical right now. Some people hesitate to visit them because they worry it's embarrassing or only for people who are worse off. But let me tell you the truth, food banks exist exactly for situations like this, when working families, seniors, or individuals on fixed incomes need temporary support through no fault of their own. Food banks are stocked, they are organized, and they are ready. Most food banks offer fresh produce, canned goods, grains and pasta protein options like meat or beans, sometimes even hygiene items or household essentials. And here's the best part. They are free, confidential, and welcoming. If you don't know where your closest food bank is, just call 211. This nationwide helpline will tell you the nearest food banks, their hours, what they distribute. Whether you need an ID or appointment, many states are also directing additional funding to these food banks because they know SNAP delays can create sudden gaps in household nutrition. This means more supplies, more volunteers, and more support than usual. Beyond food banks, there are churches, community centers, senior centers, and nonprofits offering dinners, pantry boxes, or emergency food bags. These places understand the emotional stress that uncertainty creates and often provide not just food, but kindness, understanding, and dignity. If you are a senior, a veteran, or a person with disabilities, many organizations even have delivery options or special lines to avoid long waits. Depending on where you live, additional community programs may also be available, and your state SNAP office or 211 can help you locate them quickly. In the next part, we'll talk about one of the most misunderstood elements of this crisis, why 8 states saying yes doesn't mean SNAP is ending or disappearing. Why SNAP is not ending, understanding the real meaning behind the 8 states news. At this point, you've probably seen dramatic headlines online, articles claiming that SNAP is ending, that benefits will disappear forever, or that only a few states will continue providing food assistance. These headlines create fear, confusion, and panic. But today, I want to give you the truth in a calm, clear way. The announcement that 8 states are stepping up to help in November does not mean that SNAP is ending. It does not mean the federal government has canceled the program, and it does not mean only 8 states will receive benefits. Here's what the situation really means. The federal government is experiencing a temporary budget crisis, a shutdown. Because of that shutdown, the government cannot guarantee that new November SNAP dollars will be released on time. That uncertainty is what caused panic, not the program itself disappearing. SNAP is still a federal program. It is still funded in federal law. It is still operating. But during a shutdown, federal agencies cannot issue new payments until Congress approves the budget. So why did those 8 states step forward? Because they recognize something simple. Their residents cannot wait for politicians in Washington to finish arguing. Food cannot wait. Children cannot wait. Seniors on fixed incomes cannot wait. Their actions were not replacements for the federal program. They were bridges providing support while the federal system resolves its temporary crisis. Think of it like this. If the federal government is the main water supply, then these 8 states are providing bottled water to help people get through a temporary outage. The main system is still there. It's just paused. This means that your long-term SNAP eligibility is not in danger, your card is not being taken away, and the program is not being shut down permanently. In fact, these actions show that states across the country recognize how essential SNAP is, not just as a financial assistance tool, but as a foundation of dignity, health, and stability for millions of Americans. In the next part, we will go deeper into how to stay prepared, what information you should track, and how to avoid misinformation during this crisis. Staying informed and avoiding misinformation during the crisis. As we move toward the end of this important update, there is something we must talk about, something just as vital as food benefits themselves: misinformation. During times of uncertainty, rumors spread faster than the truth. One incorrect post on social media can cause thousands of people unnecessary fear. One misleading headline can make seniors feel anxious, confused, or even hopeless. So let's take a moment to talk about how you can protect yourself from misinformation and make sure you always receive accurate updates about your SNAP benefits. First, remember this: your state SNAP office is the only official source for benefit dates, eligibility updates, and payment confirmations. Not Facebook, not TikTok, not random websites or YouTubers looking for attention. Your state knows your payment schedule, your state manages your EBT system, and your state is required by law to inform you about any changes that affect your benefits. Second, when you search for information online, look for these signs of credible sources: government websites ending in .gov, state human services or social services pages, verified nonprofit organizations, official food bank networks, local news outlets, not clickbait sites. If you're ever unsure, call your state SNAP hotline. They can confirm instantly whether a rumor is true or false. Third, keep a small notebook or paper handy where you write down your state's SNAP office phone number, the website you check for updates, important dates like recertification or renewal, any messages you receive about your benefits. This helps you stay organized and calm even when news is changing quickly. Finally, protect your peace. Many people online exaggerate or inflate stories because fear gets clicks. But fear doesn't feed families. Information does, and action does. You deserve clarity, you deserve truth, and you deserve updates that help you make decisions, not scare you. In the final part of this series, we'll pull everything together and give you a clear roadmap for navigating this SNAP situation with confidence and dignity, your action plan, and a message of strength for the days ahead. As we come to the final part of this important message, let's bring everything together into a clear, simple roadmap you can follow with confidence. You have heard the facts, the challenges, and the steps you can take. Now it's time to focus on what truly matters: protecting your household, staying informed, and knowing that you are not alone in this. Here is your complete action plan moving forward. 1. Stay connected with your state SNAP office. This is your most reliable source of information. Check their website, call their hotline, and look for official announcements about November benefits. Write down anything important, such as payment dates or emergency programs. Second, make sure your recertification and information are up to date. A missed document or outdated detail can create delays that have nothing to do with the federal shutdown. Double-check your renewal date and make sure your application is correct. 3. Use community resources without hesitation. Food banks, churches, nonprofits, and senior centers exist to support people exactly like you, hardworking Americans who contribute to society and deserve help during difficult times. There is dignity in seeking support. There is strength in taking care of yourself. 4. Avoid online rumors. Stick to official sources. Do not let fear-based headlines or misleading posts shake your confidence. You deserve calm, clarity, and accurate information. 5. Remember that SNAP is not ending. The current situation is temporary. It is the result of a budget conflict, nothing more. SNAP remains a federal program, and millions of people across the country will continue to rely on it long after this shutdown ends. Now, let me speak directly to you, the seniors, the families, the veterans, the caregivers, and the everyday Americans listening to this. You are not weak for needing help. You are not a burden. You are not forgotten. SNAP exists because feeding yourself and your family is a basic human right. You have worked, contributed, and survived through challenges that many people will never understand. And you deserve stability, support, and peace of mind. The 8 states that stepped forward did so because they recognize your value. They see you, and they know that food security is not political. It is essential for life, dignity, and health. So as you move into November, hold your head high, stay informed, take action, and know that help is available, whether through your state, through community organizations, or through the safety net designed to protect you. You are strong, you are resilient, and you will get through this one step, one day, one meal at a time.